now available on video cassette. Your dog will soon be ready for the most effective training methods available to dog owners. Consider Brian Donovan's The Nipping, Chewing, Digging, Garbage Rating Won't Come When Called Dog Training System Part 2 for adult dogs of any breed. Brian provides you with the detailed steps required to eliminate jumping, how to keep your dog from pulling on his leash, basic obedience commands like sit, stay, heel, and much more. Not using Brian's method is a lot like using a butter knife as a screwdriver. You may get the job done, but the results may not be as good. Try Brian's system for 30 days, and if you're not completely happy, simply return it for a full refund. Thousands of dog owners have already found out why Brian's system is better than other more expensive programs. When your puppy reaches 4 months of age, don't give up, give us a call. Visit your pet retailer or call toll-free at 800-361-DOGS.
Nutro, makers of Max and Natural Choice dog foods, where the difference is nutrition. Hey, we're home, big fella. Congratulations on your puppy. My name's Jeff Walker. Welcome to Brian Donovan's The Nipping, Chewing, Digging, Garbage Rating Won't Come When Called Dog Training System for Puppies. Now I'm going to introduce you to Brian, who's been helping new dog owners like yourself bring the untamed wild beast home for over 15 years. And this training system is more than just something you watch. Inside the video is a 1-800 helpline. Watch the entire video, and after you learn and practice, if you still have questions, give us a call. A behavior specialist will help you out. Now here he is, a syndicated radio talk show host and animal behavior specialist, Brian Donovan.
Thanks, Jeff. Hi, I'm Brian Donovan, and today I'm being assisted by my good friend, Marina. Marina, are you ready to train some puppies?
You bet I am, Brian.
This program is designed specifically for puppies under 4 months of age. The training techniques I'm about to teach you are some of the most effective methods I've found during my 14 years as a behavior specialist. So if you're the proud new owner of a puppy and you either want to A, solve a behavior problem, B, avoid behavior problems, or C, instill proper behaviors, then grab your puppy, grab a pen, a pad of paper, and let's get started. Oh, and by the way, welcome to the Nipping, Chewing, Digging, Garbage Rating Won't Come When Called Dog Training Manual for Puppies under 4 months of age. Okay, let's take a look at our table of contents. Segment 1, housebreaking. Segment 2, puppy obedience. Segment 3, puppy play and exercise. Segment 4, behavior modification for aggression and destructive behaviors. And number 5, desensitizing, handling, and socialization. Guess what the #1 training issue is for most new puppy owners? Marina?
I think it could be housebreaking, Brian.
You got it. And after this, we'll show you a schedule that takes less than 14 days and will eliminate this problem completely. You have a new puppy at your house, which means training isn't the only responsibility you've signed up for. Your puppy counts on you to take good care of him and provide him a nutritional program which will help him feel his best at every age. That means choosing a food with high-quality protein and nutritious ingredients, but it has to taste great, too, so the dog will actually eat it. In my experience, dogs really thrive on Max and Natural Choice pet foods from Nutro products. Nutro provides exceptional nutrition with the highest quality ingredients, and dogs just plain love the taste. Unlike some foods, Nutro never contains chicken byproducts. With Nutro, carbohydrates come from wholesome, easily digestible rice, while other foods use inexpensive corn, which can be harder for your dog to digest. Nutro diets also supply the most linoleic acid. This is the single most important ingredient for healthy skin and a smooth, glossy coat. So dogs who eat Nutro look fantastic and have fewer skin problems, too. With the training you give your puppy through my course and the top quality nutrition that a Nutro diet provides, you and your puppy will be well on your way to a healthy, happy life together. Believe it or not, at this very moment, you're only 14 days away from having a potty-trained dog. That's right, my potty training schedule is a 2-week program, and best of all, it works on any dog, even little guys like this. Hey, little guy, you gonna come out and say hi to us? There he is. Look at there, Marina.
Oh, he's so cute.
This is Benny. Benny is a 10-week-old Lhasa Apso. Say hi, Benny. Say hi, Benny. He's a show stealer, right?
He's trying.
Yeah. Now, the first aspect we want to talk about with housebreaking is scheduling. Dogs are creatures of habit. That is, they become accustomed to schedules and routines very readily.
Okay.
So what we want to do here is put the feeding on a schedule. That is, you feed your dog 3 times a day. At this age, your puppy should be eating about 3 times a day until he's 6 months old. At 6 months of age, you go to twice a day, and then you can stick with twice a day the rest of his life, or you can go once a day once the dog is a year of age.
Okay, I have a question. When you're putting the food out, can you leave it out all the time for the dog to have access to it, or are you recommending only certain times?
Yeah, actually that's not a good idea to leave the food out. Some dogs, that's called a free feeding schedule. Some dogs actually do pretty good on a free feeding schedule. That is, you can leave the food out and the dog eats whenever they want, and they become housebroken pretty much on their own. But most of us aren't that lucky, so we're going to have to schedule the feeding. So once again, 10 minutes at a feeding. You leave the food down, whatever he's going to eat in 10 minutes, let him eat, and then you pick it up. Same exact times every day. What you're doing is you're regulating the dog's intake. When you regulate that end, you'll be able to regulate the other end as well.
Oh, okay.
Now, you notice we didn't say anything about the water. The water, you want to leave the dog free access to water throughout the day.
Okay.
And the reason for that is because puppies, you can see when they start expending a lot of energy, they can dehydrate themselves. They can burn up their water pretty fast.
This little guy's doing.
Yeah, and they can get into trouble if they get too dehydrated. So you want to leave them free access to water throughout the day.
Okay.
Even though most of the potty problems are going to be urination problems, still everything revolves around the feeding. So your dog will be thirsty at the same time. He's going to be active and inactive at the same time. So it really will regulate your dog's behaviors.
Very good.
All right. Issue number 2, taking your dog outside. That is, making sure he's in the right place at the right time when he does have to go potty. Now, unfortunately, this is going to be hit or miss at first. You're not going to have a real good sense of the dog's metabolic rate until a few days have passed and you've cleaned up a few mistakes.
Oh, no.
And you'll figure out that at certain times your dog will have to go potty.
Okay.
Now, the way you figure this out is whenever you think he's got to go, you take him outside or to his designated area. It could be a litter box for a dog this size, or it could be your backyard.
Okay.
You take him out and you leave him out for 5 minutes. Now, here's the trick with this aspect. Most people will let their dog outside, but they don't watch him carefully.
So I have to stand there and actually watch my puppy?
You should stay right there with him,
Okay.
especially during this 2-week period. Now, as the dog becomes conditioned to the housebreaking, you can slack off a little bit. You can go get ready for work and leave him out, and he'll know what to do.
Oh, that's
But
good.
initially, you want to stay out for a couple reasons. First, when he's out there, the idea of the dog being out there is to go potty. So you have to know when he goes. So you can record it in your head or put a schedule up on the refrigerator. In any event, you want to know when he goes. Also, this is when you praise your dog.
Okay.
When you take the dog out and he goes, right at that moment, you praise him with the potty command. Now,
And what's that?
The potty command can be any word you wish.
Okay.
I say outside. I tell my dogs outside, I take them out, and as they're going, as the dog is eliminating, you use that word in the praise. So you tell
Oh.
them, good outside, good outside,
I
good
see.
Benny, good
I
outside.
see.
You'll feel kind of silly doing this, but it's very effective. It associates the word with the action.
Okay.
All right? Now, if you leave the dog out too long, another thing can happen here by leaving the dog unsupervised. This is when dogs start to dig holes,
Oh, no.
bark at the neighbors, jump the fence, and these are probably 3 of the worst problems with dogs that are left outside. They're also the most aggressive dogs that are left unsupervised for long periods of time outside.
Okay.
So there's no good reason to leave your dog unsupervised, especially a puppy under 1 year of age. Keep a watch on him.
Okay.
Leave him out for 5 minutes. As soon as he goes, you bring him right back in.
Okay.
Now, when you bring him in, you're not done. Usually the dog will go in 2s or 3s, meaning he'll go and then he'll sniff around a little bit, then he'll go again. I still want you to bring him in after the first time because this gives the dog the notion that he's out there to get something done and come right back in the house.
So, Brian, this really all sounds good, but what happens if the dog decides to go on the inside of the house?
Well, that is a guarantee. Your dog is going to make mistakes, especially during the initial few days of the housebreaking schedule. You're going to have to clean up a lot of messes. Now, when your dog makes a mess in the house, you have to realize that dogs learn through immediate association. That means that you have to catch them in the act. Now, if you don't catch them in the act, you can't correct it. You have to clean up the mess, bite your tongue, and go about your business. Now, if you do catch them, what you want to do is you want to make a correction that has a little sound to it. Maybe clap your hands. Nope, let's go outside. You hear how I said that?
Yes.
There's no sense of punishment, but rather a sense of immediacy. No, let's go outside. So you clap your hands, it brings the dog's attention to you, and you usher him outside as quick as you can. That's really all you've got at that point. So you got to catch him while he's starting the mistake. Now, if you don't catch him, and this is where the biggest problems take place in the housebreaking, is there's two corrections that really make this a bear. First, a correction that's too late. If the correction's after the fact, the dog's not going to make the proper association. So you can't do anything after the fact. Second, if you correct the dog too harsh. If you correct the dog too harsh, what happens is your dog becomes scared to go potty in front of you. In that case, your dog's going to find a hiding spot.
Oh, boy.
And then you're going to have to look around the house and sniff for his mistakes after he's done what he thought he's supposed to do. Hide the mistake from you.
So, Brian, you mean a harsh correction, something like the old wives' tale, put the dog's nose into it? Is that what we're referring to?
Right. In fact, that's what we did when I was a kid. My dad, he punished our dogs like that. But the problem is dogs are so trainable that you can use bad techniques, and sometimes you're still going to make progress. But it really doesn't work that well, and the dog, most dogs aren't going to make the proper association. So it should be very quick, immediately in the situation, and very gentle.
Okay.
All right? Now, when you can't keep an eye on your dog, this is the next topic. Put your dog in a safe location. That is a cage, a place that's safe and secure. It keeps the puppy safe, keeps your house safe, and it keeps the dog from getting into behavior problems that you might have to fix later on. So, for you, Benny,
he's going bye-bye.
We're going to put you back. Say bye. We'll see you later. There we go. Oh. Say bye to everybody. Okay, Benny. Come on back in here. There you go. There's your toy and your blanket. Now, the cage should be used, again, only when you can't keep an eye on your dog. When you go to work, when you go to bed, when you just want to keep the dog out of your hair. Don't use it for punishment. When you use a cage for punishment, it makes the dog, of course, dislike his cage. So you only want to use it to keep the dog out of trouble.
So how long reasonably can the puppy stay in a cage at this age?
At this age, your puppy he should be okay all night. So 8 hours during the night should be fine. However, during the day when he's more prone to be more active, you really shouldn't leave a dog at this age in a cage for more than 4 hours at a time. So plan to have somebody maybe come home during the lunch hour and let the dog out and take care of the dog that way. But for at least the first year of the dog's life, you want to put him in the cage whenever you can't watch him. So your dog's picking up over 90% of his habits that he's going to take with him the rest of his life his first year. Now, during this first year, if he's left to roam free in the house, of course, he's going to explore behaviors such as chewing on your linoleum floor, on your baseboards. So when you can't watch him, put him in that cage. Once the dog is a year and a half of age, then you can start giving him freedom a little at a time.
That sounds good.
Okay, we've been talking about scheduling, getting the puppy in the right place at the right time, the cage, proper corrections. Now, if you've been keeping your notes, you know we're on item 5. Item 5 is the magical 10th day of the housebreaking schedule. I told you it's a 2-week program. On the 10th day, you're going to switch things a little bit. What I want you to do here is on the 10th day of the housebreaking schedule, take your dog's most consistent time that he goes potty. Say for the sake of argument, it's at 8 o'clock in the morning before you go to work. At this time on the 10th day, instead of letting the dog outside, what I want you to do is take the dog to the back door and just stand there. Don't let him out. Don't say a word to him. Just stand there. Now, what do you suppose your dog's going to do when he's been going potty at 8 o'clock in the morning for the last week, and then all of a sudden, you're not taking him out?
I don't know, Brian. He's probably going to be a little confused like I am.
Exactly. Now, your dog's been conditioned to go at a certain time. So when you take him to the back door and you don't let him out, he's going to do one of two things. Either he's going to go right in front of you, at which time you can correct him the right way. He's right there, the door's there, the leash is there, you can usher him outside as quick as you can. Or what he's going to do, and this is what you're looking for, he's going to show some sign of stress. What I mean by that is he's going to look at you, he's going to look at the door, and he's going to wonder why you're not opening the door. So he might start whining, crying, jumping at you, jumping at the door. When he shows you that stress sign, what you do is you use that sign as his signal for the potty. So you answer your dog. You say, oh, I get it. You want to go outside. You answer the dog. You let him outside, and that's how you get your dog to tell you that he's got to go. So you have a two-pronged method of housebreaking your dog. Either you can tell him or he can tell you. Okay, let's summarize the housebreaking segment. First, you want to establish precise feeding schedules. Next, secure your puppy in a good quality cage when you can't supervise him. Establish a command for the potty training. Do not use harsh or late corrections. And remember, when your dog goes potty in the right spot, praise him immediately.
Wow, Brian, I can't believe it. I just learned how to potty train my dog in 2 weeks.
That's right. And if it is taking you any longer than 2 weeks, it's either because you're using poor methods or your timing's poor. Next up, obedience training.
Well, this is going to be a lot of fun.
You bet.
Trying to teach your dog to walk on a leash bringing you down? Well, snap out of it. There's a whole new way to teach your dog to walk on a leash. Introducing the Snap Lead. The Snap Lead is the world's most innovative way to train your dog to walk on a leash. It uses sound correction to get your dog's attention. The 1-inch nylon snap lead stops the dog's pulling without the potential damage that a choke collar can cause. Its simple, effective design attaches like any other lead, but makes a snap noise when used properly. Your dog will snap to attention. Each order of the Snap Lead includes a free instructional video featuring nationally recognized trainer Brian Donovan teaching you how to properly use the Snap Lead to train your dog.
The Snap Lead is so easy to use. As soon as your dog starts to pull, snap it. Soon your dog will be walking just the way he should.
Call 877-NSC-SHOP to order the Snap Lead for the special introductory price of just $14.95 plus shipping and handling. Call today or order on the web at nationalshoppingclub.com. Order your Snap Lead today.
Marina, are you ready to show the folks at home how to obedience train a puppy?
You bet I am.
All right. One of the biggest problems we have with obedience training is actually frustration. It's true. Both the dog and the owner become bored and frustrated in obedience classes. This is vividly illustrated by the fact that the national dropout rate for basic obedience is over 70%.
Wouldn't doubt it.
What we're going to do in this segment is teach your puppy how to love obedience. Now, to do this, we have to serve two objectives. First, we have to get the dog focused, and we're going to associate some of the words he's going to hear later on, sit, down, and how to respond to his name, with something good.
Okay.
You ready?
You bet I am.
Let's get started. Now, we have another helper here.
Who's this big guy?
Well, our cameraman has taken the liberty to name him White Fang. Is that right?
Oh, boy.
Now, what we're going to do here is we're going to put him on a buckle collar. He's already got that on. And a little leash. Now, he's too young for a choke chain. We don't want to use a choke chain on him. The buckle collar will be fine. Now, remember our two objectives. The objectives, we're going to teach sit and down and how to respond to his name. But the objective is to first get the dog focused, and secondly, to associate some of the words he's going to hear later on with something good. Now, we're going to use food. Right here I have a little treat here that I think the dog will like. Now, the dog has to be prepared. He has to be ready to learn. What we mean by this is the dog has to be hungry. Now, you see that the dog wants this treat, so there's going to be a very, very powerful association between the treat and the exercise I'm going to teach him. Now, the first one is sit. Look at all this nonsense here. Now, what we're going to do is I'm going to show the dog that the best way to get this treat is not by biting at it, but by actually putting his butt on the ground. Here's how we're going to do that. You take the treat, you lift it up, you get him concentrated on that treat. Hey, White Fang. Let's go, White Fang. Ready? Here it is. There it is, little guy.
Did he get it?
Make sure he sees it. It's right here. It's right there. It is. Bring it up and back. Good sit, White Fang. Good.
Good.
Now, you associate the word and the treat and the action all together. Now, he's not going to hear very much of what you're saying, but some of it's going to sink in.
Okay.
Good sit, White Fang. Good.
Good sit.
You take it away. Now, we're also going to teach the down exercise. Now, down's a little bit more difficult. It may take you a couple sessions. You get him sitting, and then from the sit position, you bring the food down, and then you curl your hand under.
Go.
There, good, down.
Good boy.
To get the dog's elbows on the ground. And then you praise him and let him have a little bit of the treat. That's it. Now, when you use a food reward, you want to use very small pieces. Let the dog fight for it. Don't give him a big milk bone or a big hunk of food every time he does something for you. If you do that, he's going to become bored real quickly because, of course, he'll become
full.
Yeah,
okay.
Exactly. So you see, he's ready to learn. Look at that.
He's feisty.
Yeah. So once again, it's ready, White Fang? Let's go. Sit. Good boy. Now, don't do this sit pretty thing. See how he jumps up? Now, it's very natural for puppies to do that, and folks think it's cute, but it's cute until he jumps up to get your plate of spaghetti out of your hand when you're walking to the dining room. So keep all 4 feet on the ground. Don't let him jump up. So you got the sit.
So, Brian, you're really holding him by the leash. You're not pushing his behind down. You're letting him gradually bring himself to the ground by lifting the treat higher.
Very good. We're not touching the dog. We're not forcing him to do anything. He's doing it all on his own.
Okay.
Remember the objectives. To associate some of the words he's going to hear later on with something good in the basic obedience, like the sit, the down, and the recall, what we call the responding to the name, and also to focus. Now down, you bring the food down, curl your hand under. He gets underneath your hand.
Oh, there he goes.
And he lays down. Now the third one, and probably the easiest thing to do, is to teach the dog how to respond to his name. Now, when I call my dog, when I say his name, I want him to look at me, come towards me, and actually I want him to do it quite quickly. The faster he does, the more reliable it is. So what I'm going to do is associate his name with something pleasant. We put the food right in front of his face, right in front of his nose, and I say, White Fang. Good. Listen how I'm saying his name. White Fang.
Look at
White
that.
Fang. Now that sounds pretty obvious, doesn't it? I mean,
Yeah,
associate the
definitely.
name with something good. White Fang. But you know what? White Fang. And you know it's true. The first word you usually yell at your dog is what? His name. And that's how dogs start associating their name with something negative, and consequently, dogs start ignoring their name. I want my dog to like his name. White Fang. Good boy, White Fang. You want to try this?
Sure, I'll
Now,
give it a try.
You got a real tiger here, so
Okay.
I want you to hold that treat,
Okay.
kind of pinch that in between your fingers there. Now, let's start off with the sit. Now remember, you get them interested in the food, bring the food
Sit.
up and back. Good, good. Now give them the treat.
Good boy. Down.
Okay, now the down, bring your hand down and curl your hand under. Now see what you did there was you actually pulled your hand away a little bit, and he didn't quite follow your hand, and he kept moving. Now if he stops approximating what you want, you take the food away and you start all over.
Okay.
Remember, you bring the food down and then curl your hand
Down.
under, and then curl your hand under. Now see, you want him to try to get underneath your hand, so curl it under like that. Okay, see that? See how my wrist
Okay,
is bent
I
back?
Oh,
Good. Good, down.
got it.
Good. Good. And after a few sessions, your dog will be responding to the sit, the down, and the recall. Now, you notice we had food when we do this, and of course the logical question is,
Won't he just sit to get the treat?
well, actually, if you do this for the rest of his life, of course, he's only going to work if you have food in your hands. But remember our objectives. Keep those in the front of your mind whenever you're doing puppy obedience. We want to associate something good with the words, and we want to focus the dog. That's all we want to concentrate on here. You want to try it again?
Sure.
I want you to grab
Now,
one of
how
these.
long is it going to be that we have to use the food with him? Normally, how long does it take to learn?
Well, it depends on how often you work your dog. If you work your dog 5 or 10 minutes a day, within 3 or 4 days, you won't need a treat in your hand.
Really, that
He'll
fast?
follow your hand. He'll sit for you. Look at that. We've only done it a few times. There you go. Down. Look, don't even
Oh,
have a treat in my
that's really
hand.
good.
Good. So usually it's pretty immediate, the results you get. Okay, let's recap our puppy obedience segment. First, practice when your puppy is hungry. Lure him into position. Praise with treats. And do not force the puppy into position.
Brian, this is a great way to teach the puppy how to do the obedience.
Yeah, and it's all positive reinforcement. This actually forms a foundation for any training you're going to do in the future. Next up, we're going to talk about puppy play and exercise. Positive reinforcement is the most important aspect of your puppy training regimen. If you're wondering what we use with these dogs in the video and what I use with my own dogs when it comes to positive reinforcement, it's Oinker Roll Training Treat. Look for it at your favorite pet retailer. If you're like most new puppy owners, you're probably pretty overwhelmed by the amount of excess playful energy your puppy has. Don't bother trying to keep up. Your puppy will just rise to the new challenge. The key here, and you've heard it before, is scheduling. That's right, you want to have scheduled playtime. This will condition your dog to be active at certain times of the day. That is, when you give them the command.
Okay.
Ready?
I am.
For this, we're going to have our little puppy here, Benny. Benny, you're going to learn how to play the right way. Come on, little guy. There we go.
And we want to put a collar on him?
Yeah, always have a collar on when you're working with them. Regular buckle collar and a leash.
And how tight? Just
So you can have a little bit of slack. Once it's on, you should be able to fit a couple fingers under the collar.
okay.
I think you have that there.
Almost.
Now, teach a puppy how to play. well, sometimes their play can get a little excessive, and we're going to show you some real healthy games to play. Now, chase games are real healthy, and it builds a rapport between you and your dog. What I mean by that is puppies naturally like to chase and follow. So when you're in your yard with the dog and the dog shows the least bit of interest in you, run away, make a lot of noise, roll around the ground, make it fun for the dog to follow you and to chase you. But be prepared when the dog catches up to you. When you go to grab them, usually they'll back up and they'll put their rear in the air, their head down, they start barking. They want you to chase them. Now, this is not the good part of the game. You don't want the dog to get used to running away or being chased.
Okay.
In a short amount of time, he's going to learn that he's faster than you, and it's fun to run away. And then when you really need to control him, he's going to actually choose to run if that's what he wants to do.
Okay, so we want to stay away from the factor where he feels like he has to run.
Right.
Away
right.
from you.
So what we're going to do here is we're going to show the dog to chase either us or something that we throw for him. You can start with any toy or a treat. Here we have a toy
Benny.
here. Now, when you toss something for him to chase, don't throw it over his head. Throw it at eye level or lower so he can focus on it as you throw it away. Good. See, look at how quickly they lose track of what they're chasing. Here we go again. I'm going to bring them back around. Right, there you go. There. Good. There it is. Good. You only threw it a couple inches there. And then as you work with them, you can throw it further and further. And this will get the dog focused. There we go.
There he
good.
goes.
That was good. On the same thing that you're focused on. Good. It's a real good rapport builder. There you go. Ready? You want to try it again? Go get it. Chase games. This leads into our retrieving.
Oh, my God.
Now, as the dog learns to pick things up and bring it to you, you'll notice that sometimes he'll bring you the toy and sometimes he'll take it away from you. He'll steal it. Now, when he steals a toy, it's important here you don't correct him. You just ignore him. You stop the game. You get up and walk away for a few minutes.
Okay.
This shows the dog that once he starts running away with the toy, the game stops.
Okay.
As he runs towards you, you praise him and really make over him quite a bit. Hey, come on. And then as he runs away, you simply ignore him. Good. Good dog. That's good. Now, you can also do this with treats. Take a treat, and again, at eye level or lower.
Okay.
Right? Go get it. Go get it. Look at very little ability to track things, so we're going to have him look at it here. Ready? There it is right there. Good. Good dog.
Good, Benny.
Good. After a few days of doing this, you'll be able to point to his toy in the yard, and he'll follow your line of sight, and he'll find his toy and bring it back to you.
Now, Brian, as far as toys go, is it better to give him a lot of toys to play with, and that prevents him from chewing in the house, or do you recommend only a few selection of toys?
Now, that's a great question. The more toys you have in the house, your logic would seem to indicate that if he has a lot of toys, he'd leave your things alone.
Yeah.
Just the opposite is actually the case. The more toys you have for the dog, the more you teach the dog variety, and he's going to start searching out new things to chew and new textures to explore. So you should have one or two toys in the whole house at a time. Once the toy becomes damaged or frayed, you throw it away, get another toy for him, or you can rotate them. Have one toy and let him have that for a week or so, then get another one out. Don't wash the toys very often because you want the scent. You want his scent to be on the toys. Now, when you use a toy that's made specifically for dogs. There's a lot of them out there, but you don't want to use things like socks and shoes and things like that. Now, once in a while, when your dog brings you something, he's not going to want to give it up. He's going to hold on to it, and this starts the game of tug-of-war. Now, tug-of-war is fun for dogs, it's fun for the puppy owners, but sometimes it gets out of hand. The puppy will start growling, and this actually begins a lot of the aggressive problems that we have. So when your dog brings you an item, what you want to do is, when he is holding on to it and he won't let go, you want to give him a command. I use drop it. I'll tell the dog drop it, and right after I say drop it, now that you have to imagine the toy on one end here on my hand, the other part's connected to the dog's face, and then you reach under here, you tell him, drop it, and just kind of pinch his cheeks against his teeth, and his mouth is going to open right up, okay? Drop it, and then pinch him a little bit, he's going to open his mouth right up. Another thing you can do is, if he's interested in the toy, if you have treats handy, you can... This collar's a little too big for you, Benny.
Yeah.
If he gets the toy, you can actually distract him with it with the treat. So when he brings you the toy, if it's in his mouth, you can say drop it and bring the food away so he relinquishes the toy to you.
Okay.
And then you begin the game again by showing the dog, okay, now here's your toy, go get it. Good dog. So giving you the toy, relinquishing the toy actually begins the next game.
Okay.
All right? Here, why don't you try it, Marina? Go ahead and take the toy.
Where's the
Behind
toy?
him, there he is.
There he is. Come on, Benny.
Okay, get him interested
Benny.
in it.
Benny, look. He likes the collar more. Come on, Benny. Look. Toy. Toy.
Okay, to summarize the puppy play segment, number 1, never chase your pup. Play at your puppy's eye level and control tug games. One play behavior we haven't talked about is jumping. It's a big concern for a lot of puppy owners. Now, we're not going to correct the jumping at this point. We're simply going to ignore it. Believe it or not, ignoring jumping is actually going to solve the problem. So when your dog jumps on you, instead of giving him any kind of reinforcement whatsoever, whether it's negative or positive, instead, you're just going to stop petting him and look away. And then when the dog jumps down, then you pet him. And then we can nip that one in the bud.
That sounds easy enough. Well, it looks like we've just learned how to develop a wonderful rapport with our puppy.
Through puppy play.
Absolutely.
Exactly. Now, warning, if your puppy bites you, growls at you, steals your belongings, or destroys things in your house, he's absolutely normal. Next up, aggressive and destructive behaviors. Come on, let's go, Benny. Come on, Benny.
Come on, Benny.
Inatech, a new breed of behavior solutions. We're the only domestic manufacturer in all 4 electronic training categories: remote trainers, no-bark collars, in-ground fencing, and radio tracking and sensing. Our products feature the smallest collar receivers on the market. We also hold patents on the industry's only combination training and fencing system and the only combination training and bark control system. Building high-quality training products requires dedicated, diverse employees, and we've got them. Inatech brings together not only the talent, but the tools and technology to design and manufacture safe, humane, and effective training products and ship them around the world. And service after the sale is just as important to us. When you talk to Inatech, you're talking to real live people who are 100% dedicated to your satisfaction. We're Inatech, a new breed of behavior solutions.
Marina, I bet you didn't know that aggressive and destructive behaviors are actually normal for puppies.
Really?
That's right. In fact, a lot of people don't understand that this is a natural part of the dog's development, and consequently, a lot of puppies are given away or taken to shelters during this terrible 2 stage while the dog's exploring its aggressive and destructive behaviors. So we're going to solve those things in this segment, first of which is the aggressive problems.
Okay.
For this, we have White Fang again.
He's back.
He's back. Ready, White Fang? You want to come out? Sure you do.
There you go.
Come on, little guy.
Come on.
All right. Now, this requires a little bit of explanation because
White Fang wants to stay in his cage.
he
There
wants
he
a
goes.
toy. Come on, White Fang. It's okay, little guy. It's okay. Yeah, we got to explain this because this is a real important part of puppy training. This specific exercise here is only for puppies 8 to 12 weeks of age.
Okay.
Anything older than that, and we have to use other means. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to curb aggressive tendencies. Most puppies at one time or another are going to show their teeth, get aggressive, bite too hard, play too rough. In fact, if you notice, with our puppies here, as with all puppies, puppy teeth are very, very sharp. Now, there's a developmental reason why their teeth are so sharp.
Okay.
Now, you ask yourself, why would Mother Nature have it so that puppies have such sharp teeth? They're temporary. These teeth fall out at about 4.5 to 5 months of age, and then they get another set which are much duller and larger. Now, in a natural situation, puppies don't defend themselves against other predators. Their parents usually take care of that work for them. So they don't need the sharp teeth to defend themselves. It's also not for eating. Puppies usually get food in regurgitated form in nature, or they feed from mother's milk, so they don't need sharp teeth for that. So why do they have such sharp teeth? The reason is that they have those sharp teeth so that they can bother everybody else. It's true. What they use those teeth for is to play, and they bite, and what will happen whenever you see two puppies playing, especially when they're young, 8, 10, 12 weeks of age, it almost always gets out of hand. What I mean by that is at first the play will be real tentative, and then it gets rougher and rougher and rougher until somebody gets hurt. And at that point, there's a very unique thing that happens here. You'll hear a puppy squeal because he just got bit too hard, and it hurts, and then he'll retaliate. In a real vicious, instinctive reflex, he's going to turn around and bite the other one. Now, more commonly what you'll see is a puppy that will take to maybe biting mom's tail too hard. So he stalks mom and bites her tail or bites her ear, bites a real sensitive part of her. And what she'll do is, if it hurts, she's going to turn around and growl at the puppy. Now, being a puppy, he's probably not going to react in a favorable manner to the growl. He's going to keep biting her. So what she'll do when the growl doesn't work, she's going to turn around and she actually pins the puppy down. Now, if you've ever seen this correction, it looks very violent. It looks like the puppy's going to be injured, but that's not what happens. What happens is she grabs the puppy, holds him down, and the puppy has an instinctive response. It triggers a response for the dog to settle, to relax. Okay. So this correction, we're going to try to simulate this correction. Okay. So I'm going to use my hands, and my fingertips are going to simulate mom's teeth. And what I'm going to do, whenever the puppy growls or plays too rough or bites too hard, we're going to do what we call a rollover correction. We take the puppy and quickly roll him over and hold the upper part of the dog, grab just a handful of dog up top here, and hold him on his back. That's the key. Now, what you want to do, you want to make sure this is loud and it's very fast. That's what actually triggers the response. Okay. The response being the dog, sometimes initially they'll fight and kick, and don't be surprised if your dog actually puts up quite a fuss and actually cries during this or screams a little bit. That's all part of the response pattern. And then what the dog will do is if you hold him down, he's going to relax. And this is what you're looking for. When the puppy relaxes, at that point, you praise him. And again, going back to a natural situation, the mother dog will usually ease up and start treating him very gentle. And what you'll see is the puppy will reciprocate and treat the mother very gently. And this is how the puppies learn what we call an inhibited bite, or how hard can I play and still be sociable. All right? So I want you to watch very closely. Like I said, this is something that's, if you've never seen this correction, it looks kind of odd. So
but we're doing all this to curb aggressive behavior.
Yes.
This will teach him.
Yes, it sure will. Most aggression patterns are developed early on at this age. So if we can stop it at this point, and again, the puppy, his teeth are made to be bothersome to everybody else, and they're supposed to be corrected, so we're going to duplicate what Mother Nature has been doing for a million years. Okay. So what I want you to do, when the puppy gets out of hand, you're going to, when he bites you too hard, you're going to roll him over and hold him on his back. Now, usually the puppy will fight. Okay? Now, if you don't do it fast enough or loud enough, the fighting will be prolonged indefinitely, and the dog will just keep fighting to get away from your grasp. So I want you to do it very quick, very loud. So you're going to take the puppy and tell him, no, no, and hold him like that. Now, I'm going to release him a little bit, and I'm going to let him try to right himself, turn himself over, and then I'm going to correct him again. No. Good, good dog.
Very good.
Good. You see the response there? Now, you can see that, of course, that the dog's settled, but more importantly, you can feel it in your hands. You can feel the dog kind of relax. Yeah. And that's what you're looking for, and that's what you praise. Now the dog's fighting again. No. Good. Good dog. Good. Good. You heard some stress there? At any point when the dog relaxes, that's when you can let him up. Okay. And no time before. Now again, very important, if you let the dog up while he's fighting you on this, then you're going to run into more problems. The dog is going to be more determined to try to fight and get out of your grasp.
So by doing this technique, he's not going to keep on fighting, because at some point you will be more powerful and put him down, and he'll learn.
Well, what he'll learn is that his aggressive action brought about a certain response. Okay. Okay, and then when he settled down, that brought about another response, and that's how he becomes conditioned to respond. Okay. Now, after doing that, you shouldn't have to do this more than 2 or 3 times with your puppy. After 2 or 3 times saying no and rolling him over, you're still going to have the problem, but what you'll be able to do is use the word no. You heard I used the harsh tone of voice no when I rolled him over. Now, the word that mother dog uses is she says, "Arr!" and rolls him over like this, "Arr!" like that, and that is how dogs learn that a growl is actually something negative. And in fact, most puppies, if they were to encounter an adult dog that was growling at them, most puppies don't even understand dog language. They don't understand that that's a warning sign. Okay. Now, you and I know this, but most puppies would go right up to a dog that's growling at them. So what we're doing here is we're teaching the dog that the harsh tone of voice means that he's on the wrong track. Now, if you don't have this physical interpretation of the no, what happens is the dog will learn to ignore the no correction.
Okay.
That's why many people call me when their dog is 4 and 5 months of age saying, my dog is ignoring me, I think he's deaf. Every time I yell at him, the dog just walks away. It has absolutely no impact.
Okay.
All right?
Is he ever going to be scared of you once you do these corrections? Is that something that will stay in the puppy's mind?
No, well, it'll stay in his mind, but he won't associate it with you.
Okay.
In every other correction throughout the dog's whole obedience career, we never touch the dog when we correct him. This is the only exercise. And the reason is again, I'm trying to simulate what happens in nature. Now, because the dog is typically full of energy and biting you and growling when this is happening, you can get away with having your hand there. Okay, so the dog won't associate the correction with your hand.
Okay.
Okay?
And we always want to correct immediately, never after the fact?
Never after the fact. Even if it's several seconds after, that's too late.
Okay.
You have to correct them right now. So if you folks with younger children in the house, if your children are under 10 years of age, it's best if mom or dad actually supervises all the play between the dog and the child. Okay, Marina, I'm going to do this one more time very slowly, and then I want you to repeat the process.
Okay.
So I'm going to coach you on it.
Okay.
All right, what I did here was we grab, like I said, a handful of dog up in the upper torso. Now, you don't want to choke the dog. Don't squeeze his neck. What you do is you use your fingertips and just kind of cage the dog there. You roll him over very quickly. Now, with a big dog like this, you notice I rolled him right
onto you?
Right onto me. Then I can kind of cage him here between
your legs.
my knees, okay? With a smaller dog, you can do it right in the ground, okay?
Okay.
Now, when I do this, I put my hands here, and I just kind of cage the dog real quickly and just no, real fast. Okay, good dog. And then anytime, you can see at this point, after doing it a couple times, the dog is learning to settle down
used to it.
when he's in that position. Now, I want you to try it. So I want you to come down here.
Okay.
And I want you, that's a lot of puppy you got there.
Yeah, he certainly is.
Okay. Now, ready? I want you to do it full speed this time.
Okay.
Very fast, very quick. Ready? And no. And now, the tone of voice is very important.
Okay.
So you got to let them know.
That
You see how the dog's
inflection?
fighting?
Yeah, he is.
It's really
Okay.
quick. No. Okay, good. You see the legs come down a little bit, kind of extend a little bit. Good. And then you praise them. Good. Good dog. Typically, you'll see the front paws fold over. The back legs will straighten out. The tail will tuck up underneath or just lay flat. But the dog should definitely, you should see a big change in the
He
dog's
should be really submissive.
energy level. Yeah, and then you praise him for that. Okay, then you praise him. Once again, this is only for when your dog is being too aggressive. You don't do this just because your dog is getting into something that doesn't belong to him.
No, this is when he's really showing that type of behavior that's undesirable.
Growling, baring his teeth, biting you, that sort of thing.
Okay. Now, Brian, what happens when little Benny gets into your things?
So when you're talking about destructive behaviors.
Oh, yeah.
So we just talked about the aggressive behaviors. Now we're going to talk about, like you said, just when the dog is getting into things that don't belong to him. Now, I've got 3 magic words that are going to completely eliminate this problem. Loud, quick, and invisible.
Okay.
Let me explain. Whenever the dog is getting into something that doesn't belong to him, you want to discourage that behavior. Now, you want to associate the behavior with the correction. The only way you can do that is, again, through immediate association. So when the dog is getting into trouble, you have to catch him in the act. And number 1, the correction should be loud. That's going to startle your dog. Second thing, it should be quick. It should be very quick. The faster the better. It should be associated immediately with that action. So the dog is going up and say he's getting into the garbage. And you sneak up behind him and maybe take a phone book and drop it behind him, or take a can with pennies in it and shake it real quick. Loud, quick. Now, invisible is probably the most important part of those 3 elements. Invisible meaning the dog should never see the correction. Now, if the dog sees the correction, that's what he's going to blame for the loud noise. So what we want to do here is we want to associate the loud noise, the negative stimulus, if you want to call it that, with his actions. Now, immediately following this, you're going to see a startle response in your dog, meaning you're going to scare him. So you tell him no, maybe clap your hands or stomp your feet, and as soon as he hears that, he's going to turn around and look at you. As soon as the dog turns around, you should be waiting to praise your dog. You got to praise him because he's no longer getting into trouble.
Okay.
Now, rather, he's focused his attention on you. So what you do there is you blame the negative thing with chewing on the shoe or getting into the garbage, and positive with coming towards you. Now, when you correct your dog right now, if you've been correcting the wrong way, I want you to watch your dog's response. You're going to have 1 of 3 responses when you correct your dog presently. Number one, when you yell at your dog for inappropriate behaviors like getting into the garbage, does your dog run away from you? If he does, he's associating the correction with you. Do you get a response at all? Does the dog just ignore you? Then your correction's not harsh enough. Or what you're going to see is your dog will run towards you. Yes, your dog will actually run to you if he's been corrected properly, because once again, if it's done properly, he's going to associate the correction with the object, and getting into the object, he's going to associate the praise with you.
Okay.
You want to try it?
Absolutely. Let's try it.
All right, for this, we're going to use something that most dogs find very appealing. Tissue paper. Tissue paper, this will represent something the dog probably shouldn't have. And in this case, we're going to set the situation up. Now, Marina, yeah, hold the dog facing you, and I'm going to set this down right here. Now, the idea is I want the dog to explore this and find the tissue on his own. Now, when he finds it, I'm going to administer correction. For this, I'm going to use my training stick.
Oh, boy.
A newspaper. And no, Marina, I'm not going to hit the dog with this.
I didn't think you would.
What we do with this is rolled up newspaper makes a lot of noise. So you can use this. It's usually handy. You have some paper laying around the house, or you can use a phone book and just kind of drop it on the ground, or a can with pennies in it. The idea is to have something that's loud. What you want to do with the paper is hit your hand or your leg, maybe a nearby coffee table. And again, the dog shouldn't see the correction. That's the most important part of this whole correction, because the dog will simply be afraid of your hands if he sees this, you see? No. So I want to make sure the dog associates the correction with the tissue. Now, Marina, I want you to help me with this. Okay. I want you to put Benny on the floor. Don't give him a lot of slack with the leash. Okay. And then slowly kind of, we'll guide him towards the tissue a little bit, but we'll let him explore for himself and find it on his own. Okay, go ahead and put him on the floor.
Big boy, you ready to go? Okay, here we go.
So here we go. The dog goes up to it, and then... No! Good dog, good dog. Now, I immediately take him away from the tissue, and I praise him. As soon as I gave him the correction, he turned real quick. Now, I want to make sure that I'm there to save him. You see, I'm the good guy. Even though I'm holding the paper in my hand, I'm the one that saved him from the correction. Got it?
So happy.
No, yeah, and you'll see that, too. You'll see the dog very happy to hear some good input, something positive. Yeah, that's a good, yeah, I know, that's a good dog. Now, we're going to try it again. Okay. Now, I want you to do the same thing. Okay, go ahead and put him on the ground and let him explore and find that paper all on his own.
What can you find?
So he goes...
What can you find?
And it looks like he purposely tried to get away. Let's see if we can get him over here. There we go, Benny.
Come on, Benny. Come on. What do you see? I see something white. Look at that.
Good boy, Benny. Good dog. Good. Anytime he looks away from it, I'm going to praise him for it. Now, what I want to do is I want to make sure this is a little bit more thorough. I'm going to have him here, and I have the tissue out of sight. Okay. Now, what I want to do is I want to show him the tissue. Okay, could you hold on to the leash right there? And there. You need 3 or 4 hands for this, as you can tell. And then I'm going to show him the tissue. No! Good dog. Good dog. That's good. Right away, I hide the tissue and I praise the dog right away. Good.
And he's going to learn from all this.
He's going to learn. Yeah, he's going to learn. But again, he didn't get the explanation that you got. He's got to learn through trial and error. Right. So we're going to do it again. Okay.
I'm curious about that paper.
He likes my correction stick.
White stuff. Remember the white, Benny.
Now, we have the tissue over here. And if the dog goes towards the tissue, good.
And this is a good dog to have.
And no! Good dog. Good. Again, we correct. He turns right around, looks at us, and we praise him. Good. It happens kind of fast, so your reflexes have to be kind of fast as well. There's a good boy. Yes, that's good. Good dog. And then you do this until the dog is avoiding the object. It'll be very obvious after maybe 5 or 8 attempts of doing this. Okay? Now, you don't want to do this very often. Do this exercise about 3 or 4 times a week. Don't do it every single day, several times a day. The dog's going to get into trouble on his own, so you don't always have to set something up like this. Okay. All right? And that's how we're going to get the dog to stop destroying our things and still like us, because we're not the ones causing the correction. His behavior is causing the correction, and that should be the moral of this story. Okay, let's recap on our behavior modification for aggressive and destructive behaviors. For aggressive behavior, remember, an immediate rollover correction at the earliest sign of aggression, and an immediate praise when the dog settles or relaxes. For stealing, chewing, and destructive behaviors, remember, loud, quick, and invisible. Next up, we're going to show you how to desensitize your puppy.
Desensitize, Brian?
That's right. It merely means getting the dog used to being touched and handled and manipulated, as in grooming or veterinary care.
Sounds good. Let's get to it.
All right. Don't forget, when your dog reaches 4 months of age, he'll be ready for Part 2, for any dog over 4 months of age. This tape covers the basic obedience issues such as heel, sit, stay, down, come, stand, the correction word no, and also any other behavior problems you may have as well. And it too includes our toll-free training helpline. Marina, this next exercise is probably the most important thing we'll ever teach our puppies.
Okay, I know it's about desensitizing. What exactly is that, Brian?
I know it's kind of a mysterious term, but desensitizing simply means you want to get the dog used to touch, handling, like examinations, like you would take the dog to the vet and have him examined, or the groomer. Also, this helps build a rapport between you and the dog. If the dog doesn't trust your touch, then you're not going to get very far with obedience, like we said, grooming or veterinary care. So the idea here is to get the dog to trust and allow you to touch and examine him. Okay, now, I'll give you a for instance here. Say we take the dog to the groomer. Now, part of the grooming procedure includes trimming the dog's nails. Now watch as I pick up the dog's foot. I want you to watch. This is a real typical response. I'm going to just hold on to his foot. And what you'll see the dog nibbling on my hand. Now this is stress. Now if I hold on to it, and I'm not hurting his paw, but if I hold on to his paw, you're going to hear more and more stress as we go here. Within a few minutes, this dog will be screaming and wailing like I'm trying to kill him, when actually all he wants to do is get his foot free. Now this is usually what happens in a grooming situation. The dog gets his nails trimmed, and he's just as scared, if not more, when he leaves as when he came in. So we want to turn this trend around. We want to make sure the dog is at ease, accepts, and also we want the dog to actually enjoy these physical exams. Now here's what we're going to do. First, we got to put the dog in a position where he has to trust us. Now that position is the old rollover position. We're going to have the dog on his back. Now this is not a correction. This is simply an exercise. You don't correct your dog. You don't yell at him. You just turn him over very slowly onto his back. Now do this when you're watching TV or when you're not in a real big hurry to do anything else. Just roll him over and put his backbone right there between your knees with his head close to your chest. Now first, is your dog relaxed? Are his front feet folded over? Are his back legs down? If not, if the dog shows any stress, no, you give him that correction, settle him down. And then you begin your exam with the dog in this position. Now remember when I took his paw and he started biting my hand and gave me a hard time with that. Now I'm going to take his paw this time, and when he gives me a hard time, no, no, no. Good, give him the correction. I'm going to hold on to his paw until he stops fighting. Now when he stops fighting, good, I praise him, good. No, no. No. There's not much to you. You're just a little bitty guy, aren't you? Good. Now, whenever you let it go, make sure that when you let the paw go, that he's not fighting. See, when I let his paw go, it just dropped down. He wasn't pulling it away. Now, then you go to the next foot, and then you do the same thing. Now, the idea, again, is to desensitize him, condition the dog that holding him and these intrusive exams aren't going to hurt him. Now, once in a while, they will hurt because he'll be getting a shot from the vet. But by and large, we just want to examine him, and then we're going to let go, you see? And then you go to the hindquarters. The vet and the groomer always have to get back here for something. Okay. So get him used to being touched and poked back here, and nope, nope, no. No, you hear the tone of my voice change, and I correct him, he settles down, and then we praise him again. Good, and we go right back to the exam. No, no, good, good dog. That's good, good. Then we let that paw go and then go to the next one. Now, whenever you can do this and end up with a dog who's calm, you've made progress. Each time you do this, there should be less and less fighting. In fact, after this one session, we shouldn't have any tentative response from the dog whatsoever. The dog shouldn't pull away, shouldn't show any stress at all. And then finally, the final stage here is when you examine the dog, he actually falls asleep. He's so comfortable, and he trusts you so much. Now, if your dog is in that frame of mind, as he grows older and he gets his confidence, if he is prone to be aggressive, then this will actually help you because you've raised your dog's tolerance so high that he's not going to show that aggression, even with a real intrusive exam. Now, when you're doing this, I want you to look at his mouth, look at his nose, look in his eyes. No. Good. Look in his ears. You do a general exam. Now, you may not be a veterinarian, but you'll know if something looks infected or if something just quite doesn't look right, or maybe it looks different than the day before. If there's a concern, call your vet, and if you solve these problems quickly, it's usually a lot less time, effort, and stress on the dog. So we do a general exam here. You see, we look. Sometimes you may have to administer oral medications. So when you examine the dog's mouth, you get the dog used to having your fingers there. No. No. Good. Good, Benny. That's good. As soon as the dog relaxes, you praise him. Good. And then go about your exam. Good. Good dog. Now, you want to give him verbal praise and pet him. In this position, he's not in a very good position to eat a treat on his back like this, so relegate the praise to the physical praise and the kind words. That's good.
So, Brian, by desensitizing your puppy, as you've shown us right now, you want to practice doing things like this, and then when he meets other people, when he goes to the vet, when others handle him, you won't have that aggressive behavior coming out. This is the manner in which you teach him to do that.
Exactly. And this is also, there's proof that just what you said is true, in the sense that you'll notice that dogs that are raised with lots of kids, for example, if the dog makes it his first year, they're usually bomb-proof. You can do anything to them. They've been tied up and bandaged and dressed in doll clothes, had gum caught in their hair. Now, the adverse is also true. Dogs that are raised by older folks or people who have a very quiet home, those dogs tend to be very sensitive about being touched and handled because they're not used to the rough play or maybe a real intrusive exam. So a little patience here and time here is going to pay off with big dividends later on when your dog is very easy to handle. Let's take a look at our desensitizing summary. First, begin with your puppy in a rollover position. If your puppy becomes agitated, use the correction. Gentle praise when the dog settles. And practice this daily until your dog is 1 year of age. Well, there you have it. Marina, thank you so much for helping me out here today.
Brian, it's been a pleasure. I learned so much about puppies today.
Great, and I hope you did too. This concludes part 1 of the nipping, chewing, digging, garbage rating, won't come when called dog training program. Effective use of this material we've covered in this video program will enable you to establish proper behaviors in your puppy. Practice these simple techniques daily, be consistent, patient, and provide supervision at all times so that improper behaviors don't become habits. And when you have to leave your dog home alone, make sure he's secured safely in his cage. Good luck, and remember, don't give up, give us a call.